2. Where is it? 1. We've come to the end of another season of the podcast. I'm Cloud. You can call me Cloud. This is Jack. Jack's here.
I'm Jack. Hi.
Landon's here.
Who?
You, Landon.
Oh,
Mr. GamingStooges.
Mr. GamingStooges.
Oh, I know
Mr.
that guy.
Gunn.
I know that, guys. Hi.
For the podcast, for the live stream viewer, Al, we are going to be going ahead and not having like the pre-recorded intro on our post-editing version of the episode. So we're just going to say hi to everybody as we start. And it's been quite a year for the podcast. We've done quite a few cool episodes. And as we usually do on our wrap-up episodes each year, we're just going to go over all of the episodes we did in order across the season. We'll give some extra little thoughts on how we felt about the topic at hand and that podcast in general. And then after that, we'll take some questions and then we'll catch up on what we've been up to because it's been 3 weeks since the last episode. So I'm sure these guys are going to have quite a bit to share. So without further ado, you guys ready to talk about our podcast over the previous year?
Yeah.
Let's do it.
The first episode that we had done in the season was on shovelware.
What a bad topic.
I don't know.
Good
episode. Yeah, I think that was a good episode. I was really impressed with all of the examples we were able to come up with. Like when we had I think this was a podcast poll on our Patreon. And I remember I was like, are we actually going to be able to do like some sort of a voted episode on this? And we came up with a lot of crazy good examples of what is shovelware and how does it function, and it was great. I got to talk about a really crappy Jurassic Park PS1 fighting game.
You did a couple times actually over the course of the year. I think it came up. So
sometimes you got to bring back a previous episode's topic and just kind of bring it forward. We've all done it.
Shoehorn it in.
Yeah. It's the lore of the podcast.
Exactly.
For anyone who actually listens to the podcast and all the episodes, they're like, yes, I remember.
We probably have
Season 3, episode 1.
I was gonna say we have a handful of people that do that. Although they probably and let's admit, we also, much like them, probably do not remember each episode to a T when it happens. But hey,
I don't even remember what we started talking about in this episode as we record it.
How did you feel?
That's where my brain's at.
How did you feel about the shovelware episode, Jack?
I remember liking it. We talked about, because that was different from licensed games, right?
Yes, it was.
Yes.
Yeah.
It did. It had some crossover, of course, but it was different.
Yeah, it was. I remember enjoying talking about it. It's always fun talking about things that suck.
That's probably why the internet's really good at that.
Yeah.
True. Landon, thoughts?
Let's see. I liked it because it was not a long episode.
It was only an hour and 26 minutes after editing, which I think the VOD for that is probably an hour and 30 something minutes, hour 40 at most. So yeah.
They got some cut down on it. Yeah. That was back when I actually did something for the channel besides showed up.
Hey, you're a busy guy with a busy life, so
that's true.
It's only natural that we kind of mixed that up and fixed things around. The second episode was a much more topical episode of the time. We did an episode on the 2 Nintendo Switch directs that happened back-to-back weeks. There was a Switch 1 direct at the end of March, and then there was a Switch 2 centric direct at the beginning of April. We talked about both of those. And
remember when Nintendo did system directs and not trying to do everything but?
Yeah, I mean, they've
that's where we live right now.
Yeah.
In the current times.
I mean, they still give us so many different avenues of like news, which is more than like even PlayStation can say, and it's definitely more than Xbox can say. So I mean,
Absolutely.
but having two really big headliner directs, as the internet would perceive them, was pretty crazy because there was a substantial amount of stuff on both of these, and I mean, it was a
I
good
think
episode. It was topical though, so like, looking back, it's not important to think about now, but it's fun to just go back on and be like, yeah, that was what we got to look
I
forward to.
think the I mean, we're about to get Tomodachi Life, which they had brought up in one of those directs,
Hmm.
and I think they showed off what Fire Emblem Futures Weave was
Fortune's Weave,
one of
yeah,
the big announcements.
yep.
Yeah, Fortune's Weave. Uh it's sad that the new Rhythm Heaven, which was also like featured in one of these, I believe,
Isn't that like
has not been
MIA?
seen.
Like we just
Yeah, like at least Futures or Fortune's Weave has like I think they brought it up like somewhat recently, and by somewhat recently I mean like last September or something. So yeah.
Yeah.
And it is intelligent
RIP.
systems. Intelligent systems is not the type to have to like delay a game for a drastic period of time. So like we know based on their reputation they will be fine. We will get the game this year. Like we can't
Yeah.
be sure that Rhythm Heaven will appear this year at all until they say
Which
something.
is a bummer
Yeah.
because I want that. I want that game.
A lot of
Same.
Rhythm Heaven fans are probably really hoping that there's good news for it. Any thoughts on this
Yeah.
episode though, Jack?
Um Shit, we were talking about Rhythm Heaven. I forgot what episode we were talking about.
The March and April Nintendo Switch and Switch 2 directs that happened.
Oh,
This
yeah,
was
yeah, yeah,
when
yeah.
they announced, like they formally like actually went in depth on the Switch 2. They gave us a bunch of like launch and upcoming titles at the time. And then they also did the
Right.
Switch 1 stuff because they had so much Switch 2 stuff to talk about that they did a devoted direct before that. And that's also
I
how we found out about stuff like Everybody's Golf Hot Shots and like Bandai Namco's further pushed initiative to like get some Sony IP and like make new games or new releases in some form.
right.
I think one of those also
I
had the Once Upon a Katamari as well.
Sounds
Probably.
about right. Yeah. I remember that direct. I don't remember the podcast. I mean, I'm sure it was fun. I always like our podcasts where we just kind of talk about whatever fucking games are coming out soon.
Yeah.
So,
If they're Nintendo, let's be real, you tend to snooze through the Sony stuff.
yeah.
It's okay. You can I mean,
I forgive you.
I I try to
But
care
we'll
just as, a gamer in general, but like it's kind of we have our little lane. So,
Kind of
yeah.
depends. I guess it depends on if Konami shows up now or not.
yeah,
Yeah.
I guess so.
Yeah.
Landon, any additional thoughts on this episode?
The episode was Al doesn't forgive you, Jack.
See, right after Landon said, I forgive you, I was going to ask, but does God forgive me? And I guess we have the answer to that
He
question.
spoke. So
Yeah.
there
God
we go.
spoke.
Well, no. Obama's favorite spoke.
True.
Yeah, I mean,
What's
close
the trend?
enough.
Close enough.
Close enough.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like Jack. I like having a topical episode every once in a while, and especially since we didn't have to like shoehorn that with another discussion.
No, I will
Great.
say I really enjoyed this episode for one thing, and that is that it wasn't like what we've done a lot lately is like we've like pushed like a direct into another episode, and that happened a lot in like the previous seasons because like that was the only way we were gonna fit it in there. But that episode we didn't have to worry about it because there was just so much Nintendo stuff that we were like, we'll just do a whole episode on
Yeah.
it. So
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was good timing on Nintendo's part to give that, because otherwise it would have rolled into episode 3.
yes,
If I
which is
remember right, it would have been
yep.
like
It would have been very
Go ahead.
weird because the next episode was Zelda Series Part 2. We had done Zelda Series Part 1 on Season 2, and Zelda Series Part 2 basically just picked up where the previous episode left off. Both of these episodes only focused on the main series, but there's so many Zelda games that we had to split it. So this
Would have
was
almost been a 5-hour episode if we had done
yeah
everything together.
yeah, because this episode was 2.5 hours long for the VOD. It was cut down by about 10 minutes when we got into post, so it was still long. But it started, I think, what was it? Wind Waker was the first game, and then we went all the way to um, the then current
The
game.
Wind Waker was the last one of the first part, I believe.
Okay, so then
Yeah.
okay, so then we went from the whichever game was like directly after that forward, and that
Minish
took
Cap.
us all the way
Yeah.
to the God, I already forgot the one where you actually play as Zelda. Echoes of Wisdom.
Yep.
Yeah.
So,
You got it.
this was a pretty good episode. I wasn't able to contribute quite as much to the discussion because I pretty much only played Breath of the Wild and some of Tears of the Kingdom, and pretty much nothing else from this half of the franchise. So I just let Jack and Landon talk for the most part, and all I did was give bullet point cliff notes about the games, and it was pretty fun.
Hell yeah.
Jack, I remember you had a really nice rant about Skyward Sword at one point in the episode. It was pretty fun.
He always
I'm
has
always-
a rant about Skyward Sword.
I was about to say that. I'm always ranting about Skyward Sword.
So
That's like his persona.
It was the perfect thing. Perfect episode for you.
He does nothing
summon-
else.
I summon my persona, and then what pops out is just a YouTube video essay on why Skyward Sword sucks.
God. It's just a floating thumbnail.
It sucks too because I really like. There are parts of Skyward Sword that I really do love, and
It's one of
I
those
think
games where
was-
like you want to like it, but there's so many flaws that like hold it back that like it's just
It's what he's known for around these parts.
Yeah.
It is. It's all I
Thank
know
you.
him for.
Thank you, Al,
thank
for
you,
that.
Al. Yeah, no, it's there, man. It sucks.
Zelda
excuse
series
me.
part 2 as a whole. That episode.
As a whole, and when I said it sucks, I don't mean the whole game. I don't even think the whole game sucks. It just sucks that there are so many good things about it that I love, mixed with a bunch of bullshit that I don't love. I remember the episode being good though. I liked this one quite a bit. I mean, both of the Zelda episodes were really fun, and talking about Zelda is always a good time.
We're really good at like dissecting different Nintendo series and having like devoted episodes for them. So it's of course Zelda series having an episode like that, 2 episodes like that. Was a good time. Landon?
Fuck it. Let's make it 3, baby.
We do have the spin-offs, and that is a planned podcast episode fairly soon, actually.
Yeah, baby. Let's do it.
Another episode where I will probably just be giving cliff notes and sitting back and hearing what you guys have to say. It's gonna be interesting.
Yeah.
I'm looking
Hell yeah.
forward to it.
I'm going to sneak one game in before we do that. I'm going to try to do it this weekend. I hope I can get enough time to do it. We'll
Yeah,
see.
It is coming soon.
Because there's a major. I don't even know if we've like went down and like decided on all the games we're going to cover in that.
Not
But
yet.
there is like
We'll have to discuss that in
so
private.
that's for us to handle, not live. But there's one thing I need to play a little bit on. But yeah, I'm a huge Zelda guy. It's I would say one of my series. It's a franchise that until I would say Breath of the Wild have like strived to at 100% as much as possible. And I mean, I
Yeah.
still played the fuck ton out of Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom, but those games
We can't
when it comes to
fault you.
clock seeds.
Yeah, we can't fault you for not 100%ing it. All the same as like I don't think anyone would fault me for not 100%ing Super Mario Odyssey because of all the moons. It's like it's
a
did
fuck ton.
it's like you did everything in the game that was reasonable to do. So you did it.
So, but and like there's a lot of games from this half of the franchise that I still enjoy a lot. There's some that are still worth talking about. So it was a good podcast for sure. I'm
It was.
excited for the spin-offs.
Yeah.
Let's see what else. see what else we can get to in this next year.
Yeah. The fourth episode, we talked about Nintendo Switch Online, which is all encompassing the overall service, the way that it's handled as far as like a sector of their like I don't know how to explain it, but like they have like a bunch of like bonus trinkets for like their that's like avatars and stuff like that, and like rewards for playing. And then obviously you have their suite of game software that you download and have like a bunch of games in a hub for like the different systems: NES, Super Nintendo. We talked about the different tiers. We talked about the different games that are on offer at the time of the episode, because we have gotten a little bit of a trickle of a drip feed of additional games since then. Obviously, since it's
I mean,
constantly updating.
the biggest thing is Virtual Boy.
Yes,
Which
Virtual Boy
did they
was
had they announced it at that point?
no, because Virtual Boy was
No.
announced in September of that year, and this episode
Yeah.
was it was pretty much this episode was done before the
May.
Switch 2 was even out. So like we
Yeah.
didn't even know
Yeah.
Virtual
Yeah.
Boy would be.
We knew
Didn't have
that.
as
I
much
mean,
of the we knew GameCube was a thing.
yeah,
I think
that's
that
what I was going
about
to
it.
say.
Yeah.
So I mean,
Hopefully,
this was a good episode. It does have it is a little dated now, because obviously with a constantly updating service, you talk about the thing once, and then months from now there will be stuff on it that you didn't get to talk about because it wasn't there before. But for the most
That's
part,
okay.
we covered like a really good round. Basically, we were pretty thorough about it, especially with like stuff that like you wouldn't normally talk about, because I mean, who else was going to talk about like the weird shit that you find on the actual like Nintendo Switch Online like bubble that you can go into on the Switch besides us?
I don't know.
Scott the
I mean,
Waz, and yet he has not done this yet. So we
what a
beat him to the
coward.
punch.
what a
Yeah,
coward.
we can say he ripped us off for
Yeah.
once.
Yeah. Jack, though, thoughts on the Nintendo Switch Online episode?
This episode is going to go exactly the same way all of the previous two year-end roundups go, where I say you go to me first and I say I remember having fun with this one, because I do. I enjoy these podcasts and I love all of them, but I I can't remember anything specific about what
Yeah.
we said in this podcast, but it was, I mean, it's a fucking discussion about NSO. I like NSO.
I do remember that we made a note of the fact that, especially as like the newer systems, quote unquote, were added into the service, there was like less and less like third party support for them. Like the Game Boy Advance literally just had Klonoa, and like everything else was Nintendo first party shit. And
Yep.
I unfortunately, it looks like we might be facing a similar situation with GameCube, where like we basically just have like Soul Calibur 2 and then Nintendo.
At least Soul Calibur 2 came out at launch,
True.
whereas Klonoa
did not.
didn't that take a while?
The Klonoa was infamously the game that came out on 9/11.
9/11
of
maybe
the same year.
I mean like Klonoa like to release on NSO.
Oh yeah, no, that was like that was
That's
not
what I mean.
that was not an immediate launch on the service.
Yeah.
It came out a little after. So
took a while for them to get a third party game. But the two biggest things, one, sometimes like this episode in particular felt like reading off of a Wikipedia page and discussing that, which
yeah,
can be fun. It's fine. But two, we didn't really talk about Nintendo Music,
we did not.
which is primarily what I use NSO for now. Is I just listen to Nintendo Music,
yeah.
and I let these other guys bum off of me.
I was gonna say,
Maybe remember
Hey.
to ask them for $10.
you know,
We don't bum off of you. We pay you
No,
our
you don't.
$10 a year.
I'll say I think each of us uses Nintendo Switch Online's benefits in like a different aspect. Like Jack is probably the one that most frequently actually plays on the service, like where like the bulk of the like the benefits come from.
I use I
Landon-
use
Yeah.
NSO a decent
Landon
amount.
listens to
I
the
do
music.
sometimes, but definitely like the Nintendo music is where the primary like of my time is spent
For
for sure.
me, the most I use the service for is just for the icons. Like I will log in all the time and I'll just use
Hell
my
yeah.
points and
What icons do they got?
yeah, what icons you
Shit, I
got?
should check.
Give me what you got, Nintendo. I'll like check
Yeah.
everything and like I'll
I
buy
do
all the stuff and that's pretty much it.
I do check for the icons and stuff. I just don't update my stuff very often. But like
Because why would
I'll go
you?
in.
You'll get your
Yeah.
Toad, you'll get your Captain Toad, you'll get your Toadette, you'll get your Bulbasaur, and you're good.
A lot of times it's like, is there a Daisy? And that's so I got my like 4 or 5 characters that I like look for, but I'll do like when they have like the retro games where you like play it once for the month to unlock
Yeah.
stuff. They had the ones for like all the old school like consoles and handhelds, and thought those were cool, so I bought all of them.
Lennon, did you get
About
the Pokopia Bulbasaur?
I have not. Fuck.
You should.
Of
I
course they have
I haven't
Pokopia
been
icons. I'm
playing
sure
my
you should.
Switch 2 because I've been playing my Nintendo 3DS. So I haven't actually been like
Me
on my
too.
Switch
I
2
have
for
also
like a
been
month.
playing my Nintendo 3DS, so I have not touched my
Me
Switch 2
too.
recently.
I have it right here.
We've all been back on our 3DS grinds.
Yep.
You know, one of the best consoles of all time. Shout out to that. Uh, but moving on to the next episode, Switch Online. It was a pretty fun episode. A little topical though, or not topical, but not so much evergreen as much as like some of these other episodes. Speaking of evergreen, we did our episode on the Generation 5 Pokemon games. So we talked about Pokemon Black and White, Black 2 and White 2. And that was a very fun episode. I think we were pretty thorough about it. We all had a lot of great things to say. We like the Generation 5 games. And I mean, that was a really fun time. I like the Pokemon episodes that we do because we usually get to really like talk fully about them so that we never have to bring them up again as far as just like a passing mention maybe in a podcast when it's relevant. But yeah, that's all like our time to like really just get the Pokemon out of my system specifically. And then yeah, it was a fun episode though. Unova for life. Jack, thoughts on the Pokemon Gen 5 episode?
I always love the Pokemon discussions, especially especially because of the tier list that we do each time. It's
We do
always
accompanying tier lists, and they're always fun.
it is always very fun seeing how each of us tier the respective generations Pokemon, and just discussing them is always fun. Just going back and thinking, wow, this generation was really great. Or in the case of Generation 6, wow, this generation was kind of a mixed bag.
Yeah.
And don't worry, it's not going to get that much better going forward.
I mean, we'll reserve judgment for when we talk about them. We have Pokemon. We've been doing, so here's the thing. We've been doing Pokemon podcasts 2 a year. We've done them season 1, season 2, and season 3. So season 4, obviously you can look forward to us talk about Gen 7 and 8. And then Generation 9 and season 5, assuming that happens, and then nothing for years. It'll be great.
Yeah. We'll be dead. And by that I mean
so yeah.
Nothing to talk about.
So Generation 5, Landon, thoughts on that episode? The podcast?
Bird up.
Bird up.
Bird up.
B for bird up.
B for bird up. I mean, yeah, I agree. I really enjoy our Pokemon podcasts. And it really helps when it's a generation I enjoyed.
Yeah.
It really helps. So yeah. And yeah, shout out to the Patreon. Go check out our Patreon. Subscribe at the Silver Stooge tier, and you can watch all those tier lists. I don't know if the back catalog has all been fixed to anyone, but definitely the newer stuff for sure should be up and visible.
Yeah, we'll definitely have to get that updated because that is one thing I have not been good with, like updating the collections. But they are all there. And
I can go dig through it and make sure at least everyone on the Silver Stooge can get it. But yeah. Pokemon Gen 5. Good gen.
The next episode was a very brief episode where we talked about in-game puzzles, specifically games where puzzles are not the primary aspect of the game, but they are part of the gameplay progression. So this is usually where you'll think about like your Zelda games always have like a bunch of puzzles. Honestly, now that I've played a few games and I can actually say this, Metroid has some puzzle aspects to some of the exploration. Uh,
Yeah.
so like games like that where it's not the focus of the game, but they're in there. We talked about in-game puzzles. And I will say this was a pretty good episode, but I was not really able to like I feel like provide as much commentary, and I think that's part of why it was so short because I did not play enough games where like I could really pull strong examples from. I think honestly, if you literally just talked to me this 1 year later, I would have more stuff to say. But
Damn. That's what Metroid does for you.
that's what Metroid does for you. That's what evolving tastes in games over the years will do to you. That,
I mean, that's true.
Many
Yeah.
years ago, I was not a big. I wasn't really like the kind of person that could be like, I would love Metroid, but now I'm just like, I get it. I click with it. I understand now.
Yeah, he's there.
We'll talk
He's
more
there,
about
buddy.
that when we do our catch up segment. Don't you worry.
Yeah.
Jack, Landon, thoughts?
This episode was a suggestion from one of our patron / Discord members.
Yes.
So just remember that is something we do. Like if you give us a suggestion, we will try to weave it in somehow. When we feel like it's a good fit for our schedule
Yep.
of topics. So yeah, just remember that. But yeah, I liked the suggestion, so
It was a good
I
suggestion.
enjoyed the discussion, I think. Yeah. Jack?
How did you feel about the
Say the
in-game
line,
puzzle?
Jack.
It hasn't aged the best. What? I'm
No,
kidding.
wrong line.
But no, it was an interesting suggestion. I thought it was a pretty fun episode. It was a topic where I was worried we wouldn't have that much to say about it, but we ended up saying a lot more than I thought we would. And it ended up being pretty cool.
Yeah.
I liked it. Puzzles.
You liked it.
We got into the summer months, so we had the Switch 2 impressions kicking off June. This was like right after the Switch 2 had come out, so we had a little bit of time to it was about a week and a half or so. No, it was about a week. Yeah, it came out the week before. Right? No, 2 weeks. Yes, 2 weeks.
Yeah.
It was 2 weeks because we had an episode. The in-game puzzles episode was literally right before, like the night before the launch. So this was two weeks later. We did an episode where since we all got a Switch 2 on launch day in some manner, we had the 2 weeks to settle in, and we decided to give our thoughts. And yeah, that was a pretty fun time. Jack, how'd you feel about giving your Switch 2 impressions?
The thing I remember most about the Switch 2 launch is that I was very sick the day it came out, and I still joined for Cloud's like day one Mario Kart stream. I was
fun.
blowing my nose every 3 minutes, but it was fun. It was cool to. I mean, like I remember the podcast being good, but most of what I remember is like actually experiencing the Switch 2 in the early weeks, and it was mostly Mario Kart World.
Yep.
But it was still fun. I mean, like launching with a Mario Kart game is a good way to launch a system. So I'm not complaining.
Yeah. Landon, thoughts?
I don't know how many things, but multiple things. One, I still have yet to play any game online with anyone.
Yeah, we still got to get you to play the Mario Kart World with us at some point.
Or Kirby.
Kirby Air
we talked
Riders.
about that at one point, playing Kirby Air Riders, and
It hasn't
still
happened
have
yet.
not. Yeah, we literally just need to do like a Patreon video
or a Patreon video,
or just a one-off stream, something to where I can be like, hey, I need to do this for work. Anyway, so that's one thing that because Jack said you guys played that online like launch weekend. I was like, yeah. I think I was playing Balatro. I think I tuned into the stream, but I was like busy like with the girls, and I think I was setting up the system playing either Balatro or Tears of the Kingdom.
Yeah.
Number two, the biggest thing I remember from this episode was we talked about Mario Kart World and Cloud saying, "All right, you guys need to stop pushing down on the Mario Kart World." But actually, we're gonna keep doing that because, listen, Mario Kart World is a fine product, except it's coming right after the coattails of Mario Kart 8 Deluxe plus Booster Course Pass.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So anything by
fair.
comparison is going to seem lackluster.
It's a thing. Have they fixed it since that episode?
A little bit.
Actually
Yeah.
they put out a couple updates to fix some of the things. But yeah. Overall, I think the episode for like it's a topical because it's an early system impression and now we're, several months removed from that. But I think for the most part, some of it's like still holds true for sure.
Yeah. I mean, we got to talk about like how the Switch 2 differs from the Switch just like on hardware level, so that stuff will be more evergreen. But when we talked about Mario Kart World, like a lot of that stuff is not gonna like hold quite true, especially years down the line when hopefully Nintendo does a little bit more with it. So we'll see. But
I'm sure they'll do.
I think it was nice for us to at
future.
least be able to sit down and like just kind of give our thoughts on it because like it's a big deal. It was a new Nintendo system, and it was the first time that we were on a that we had the podcast to like give ourselves a chance to like talk about it a lot. So yeah, I mean it was a nice excuse for us to get together for that. And speaking of summer stuff, though, the summer game announcements episode, we do one every year now where we basically wait and fashionably late at that come to the table and we talk about everything that was just revealed over the course of June and sometimes the very beginning of July. Depends on when the episode happens and depends on when the companies decide to have their episodes. They're not their episodes, their announcements. But yeah, we 2025 was a I think a better a year for the summer game announcements because there was quite a lot of like cool stuff that was announced, but some of it was like a lot of stuff that was like revealed the previous year and we were just getting more concrete stuff on it. So as far as like the actual game material, like there was a lot of cool stuff to look forward to that was in the announcements, but that doesn't mean a lot of the stuff was like exciting new reveals that were stuff we didn't know about before. A lot of stuff was stuff we already knew, and if I recall correctly, Nintendo wasn't involved in this year's proceedings.
Correct.
So it was a much shorter episode as well.
It was, which, sometimes that's fine.
Yeah. I remember personally my favorite announcement out of everything, because I am biased, was the new Game Freak game, Beast of Reincarnation, not a Pokemon game. And there's been more shown on that, and it's just been looking better and better. But even just the initial announcement, I was like, that's cool. I'm interested. And yeah. So I was glad that we could talk about the summer game announcements. Jack, your thoughts on that episode?
Did you say Game Freak? The company that made Tembo the Badass Elephant?
Yeah, that one. The one that played...
Oh, yeah, I know them.
Yeah, the one that made that game Harmonite.
Oh, yeah. I know which one you're talking about. The
critically acclaimed Little Town Hero. I can't say that with a straight face. Game.
I can't even like hear that with a straight face.
That game. I've not heard the best things.
That fucked me up.
Yeah.
Anyway. I like this one. I always like the summer game announcements podcast. I mean, like I said, the topical ones are always fun because it's like it's us, keeping up on the current gaming industry.
We get to be a proper podcast that does.
Yeah, instead of just being like picking a very hyper specific topic to talk about for 2 hours.
We get to be real YouTubers.
But yeah, no, it was a fun one. Again, I don't really remember too much specifically about it, but Yeah.
I couldn't tell you a damn game that got announced at it.
That's the one that I named is the only one I remember. At
Yeah,
least
like
of the games that were revealed that year and not like revealed the previous year with more stuff added, like info wise. So
yeah, that's the issue. Is like, I'm like, I don't know.
yeah.
Was Stellar Blade announced at that? I think it was already released, but I don't know.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, pretty
um,
fun episode. Landon, any
yeah,
additional thoughts?
head empty.
At empty. The next
Head
episode we
empty.
did was one of our year retrospective gaming episodes. We did 2010 year in gaming retrospective. I've been enjoying these where like we go back and since we've been doing our year in reviews and we have like a really nice structure to it where we like list off a bunch of notable releases, even if they're not games that we personally care about, like stuff that's notable. We decided let's just do that for older years too. That's fun. And we did 2010. And I remember Landon has a friend who really likes Dead Rising
Yes.
2.
Yes. Nick.
Good old
Nick.
Nick.
Shout out to Nick.
Shout out to Nick.
Jack met Nick. He went to Streetlight with us.
Yeah, I met Nick. He's cool.
That was a
Yeah.
fun episode though. Like there was a lot of great games in 2010, and that was a lot of fun to talk about and like go back and talk about. Shout out
Yeah.
to Dragon Quest 9 Sentinels of the Starry Skies too, by the way.
Shout out to when gaming first happened in 2010.
Yeah. The first year of
Yeah.
gaming, clearly.
The first year of gaming, when Dragon Quest 9 came out, I became a real boy.
Yeah.
At the ripe age of 17, you became a real boy.
Yep. I learned not everything's Pokemon.
Yeah, true.
Pokemon. Jack, thoughts on the 2010 year in gaming retrospective episode?
And this is true for any podcast where we do a year retrospective from like a year that isn't current year or previous year. I really like these a lot, and they're some of the most fun to listen back to because it's fun just listening back to like, oh yeah, that was what like that year in gaming was like, all the games that came out that year. And it, in some instances, it's like, we do a year like 1997 where we don't really remember any of it personally, but it's still fun to just talk about the shit that came out. And 2010 was a good one because that was like a peak like GameSpot era year where like all three of us were super active on GameSpot, and it was just kind of fun to relive like, oh yeah, these were the games that were coming out when we were in high school or just in Cloud's case just graduated.
Yep. I mean, a half and half. I was, in my senior year and then graduated and then had, been out of high school for half a year. So yeah, great episode.
Yeah.
In my opinion.
Yeah.
Landon, your thoughts?
I agree. Yes. I don't know if this one was my favorites of the year in gamings that we did. But this one might be number 2.
I like 2011 a lot.
Ones. Well, that one was not part of this season, and
it was not. But if we're talking about,
I'm referring to.
Fair enough.
I'm referring to specifically this season. There is one other one that definitely was probably the funniest in my opinion.
Oh yeah,
we'll get there.
Yeah, I know which one you're talking about.
But no, this one, because it was a really good year overall. Those are probably some of the hardest ones because there's so many games that we want to mention and bring up, and that just like causes the time to just like snowball.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And this one was a pretty long episode. It was 2.5 hours.
Yeah. The biggest thing, like these ones also like stay pretty evergreen. The biggest thing is like when we go back and we're like, especially like with Cloud, what he's like doing and playing a lot of like old school stuff is like, if we
might
do
play
like
a game that we didn't play at the time that we talked about it in that year.
Yeah. Yeah. So like if we did 2010 and like again in like 5 years, it might look a little different.
Yeah,
too,
because we would have more experience with some of the games that came out that year.
Potential. But I think we did a pretty good job with 2010 for sure.
And then the last episode of the summer saga of the Gaming Stooges Talks podcast season 3 was the PlayStation 3 retrospective. And I will say it was a little bit short because it is PlayStation. We don't tend to talk about it for as long as we can Nintendo. But I really liked this episode because it really put into perspective the evolution of the PlayStation 3. Because we talked about like the early years of the system when it was struggling. We talked about the years when it started to come back and it was starting to like do really good. And we even got to talk a little bit about like the PlayStation 3 going into PlayStation 4 in this awkward era of like the PlayStation 3 still being very relevant and getting some of the biggest games that it would even get like as the PlayStation 4 was coming out. And it just really put into perspective like how the PlayStation 3 evolved over time across that generation. And it was really fun for that, I think.
Yeah, this was a good one.
I like doing
What were
these
you staring at, Landon?
I don't remember if we
You.
did. I think we've done a couple. We did a couple of the. We did a couple like platform centric retrospectives the previous season, and doing the PlayStation 3 was an interesting one because like I think we'd only done Nintendo ones up to that point the previous year.
Yeah, I was gonna say I don't think we have done a PlayStation one until
This season. Yeah.
that. Yeah, until that one.
I would say we
No.
should do a PlayStation 4 retrospective at some point, but we have to wait for the console
We
to
have to
stop
wait
getting
for
games.
we have to wait for it to
It has
actually
to
be
die.
a retrospective.
We're gonna get the
Not a
PS.
current spective.
We're gonna get the PS6 in 2033, and the PS4 will still be getting new games.
Honestly, at this point, we're probably going to have to do the PS4 episode the same way we're going to have to do the Nintendo Switch episode, where like we do it just as we can finally kind of see the end of the tunnel, and not
Yeah.
it won't even be a retrospective. It'll be more of like a here's our review of the system now that it's ending somewhat soon.
Maybe.
Yeah.
We hope. We hope no one drops a pretty bombshell game on this
Yeah.
and causes it to be great. Yeah.
But PlayStation 3 retrospective, Landon, thoughts?
Fantastic. I remember the Patreon video because we were like recommending PS3 games, and I just kept saying, "Hey, you should add this one to your list," and then we never did.
Yeah.
But it was a good game. Yeah, check it out. Patreon.com/GamingStooges.
We got a bunch of really cool like game like the PlayStation 3 was an interesting episode for the Patreon because we did like those like our classic edition versions. But like for the PS3 we
Yeah.
were more like here's a bunch of recommended games and it was chaos.
Yeah.
It was fun.
Yep.
Yes. Yes.
The next episode we did was on console launches. We had to split this in two because there are a lot of game systems. So
Did you know?
Did you know?
and we didn't even cover all of them in either episode. We basically kind of left it to like a certain cutoff point, mainly like around when like Atari onward. So with the console launches part one, we stuck to the home consoles, dedicated home consoles. So basically, we started with PlayStation 5 and we worked our way backwards all the way to the Atari VCS/2600. We did not do Switch or Switch 2 because those were handheld home console hybrids. So we put them with the handheld episode, which is the next episode. Honestly, we could just talk about these two together. Console launches part 2 was the immediate follow-up episode, and that was when we did the handhelds. We started with Switch 2, worked our way all the way back to the Game Boy 1989. And yeah, those were a couple of very good episodes. I think my only issue is that I'm pretty sure my throat was giving out on me near the end of both of these episodes because this was a time when like my throat was like doing a really bad job of like keeping up with speaking. But other than that, had a great time with these episodes because it was really fun looking at the console launch lineups. When applicable, we would like try to keep in context of the system release and like what the environment was like. as far as like with the 2020 systems, you had COVID. With the Saturn, you had the surprise launch, so it didn't launch with everything it was supposed to, et cetera, et cetera. But it was a very fun time talking about both of those angles. Great. Of course, they will be dated by the time new hardware comes out, but I think we did a really good job of covering what we covered in those two episodes. And we learned something very valuable in those episodes. Launches.
Xbox One, the original Xbox, had a solid launch.
Launches.
And that doesn't mean shit.
Yeah, launches don't mean anything, because you can have one of the best launch lineups like the Dreamcast or the Xbox and still fucking die.
Yeah,
or just
you can
not
have
be nearly as successful as the PlayStation 2.
Or you can be almost any PlayStation console. Yeah. I think we decided like the PlayStation 5 had like the best lineup.
Yeah.
Somehow with like a pretty mediocre lineup, but out of all the Sony systems.
I think we might have been a little too harsh on the PlayStation 1 console launch lineup, but that's kind of hard for us to really gauge because we were literally like poo-poo diaper shitting babies. So like we couldn't really gauge the stuff. Like we had to try to look at it retroactively, and like the stuff that we like might have experienced on PlayStation was not the stuff that it launched with. But on the whole, like none of the launches were as solid as like Xbox, the original Xbox, or like Dreamcast, or like the Nintendo Entertainment System. Like they just weren't as strong of launches, and yet it never mattered.
Yeah, most of those systems went on to fucking dominate.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So for Sony, the Sony one specifically.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And same for the DS. The DS launched with Mario 64 DS and nothing else, and not literally nothing, but effectively nothing else, and somehow managed to beat the PSP 2-1 and completely dominate that generation, hands down, easy.
Also, wasn't Super Mario 64 on the launch for 3 consoles?
It was.
Yeah.
It was on the Virtual Console launch with the Wii. It was on the DS launch with the DS remake, and it was, of course, a launch for the N64. You can't launch a Nintendo system without Super Mario 64.
It's the ultimate launch title.
You have to have it.
Name another one that spans multiple generations of one console maker's hardware. You can't.
Any other thoughts, though, on the console launches episodes?
No, they were fun. They were fun.
I don't have anything.
I remember Cloud did like over-the-top work for notes on that.
Oh, yeah.
Which is why his throat died. Because he did way too much work.
And that's even considering that I didn't even like actually say the launch titles for each of them.
Yeah.
Like I was like, I'm not doing this.
So, but we had a ton of fun with those 2 episodes. It's also fun. I know sometimes like it's nice to like split up like a topic like Pokemon. We could do 7 episodes straight of just every Pokemon generation. But that would get long in the tooth. And like the same with like Zelda, we could have done back to back. Like here's the first half of the franchise and here's the second half.
Mm-hmm.
But that would also get long in the tooth.
Out a little.
Yeah.
But this one, like it worked being split into back to back episodes. But also because we weren't like, because it was like, this is home console and this is handheld, so it helped make it a little fresh for us.
Right.
But it was a ton of fun for sure.
The next episode that we did was on the 3D Mario platformers. The previous season we had done the 2D Mario platformers, so we came back and we did the 3D ones, and we talked for a long time about them because we pretty much all have experience with almost all of the games, so there was a lot to say. An almost 3-hour episode before cutting down audio, and still well over 2.5 hours after cutting down audio. So it was a lot. And that was another episode where my throat was giving out on me near the end.
Yeah, I wonder why.
It's a running theme among these podcasts. Yeah. It's almost like you're the host and you do a majority of the talking.
And I keep trucking. Like, there's a lot of podcasts out there.
It's
They only go for an hour, maybe 2 hours at most, and they usually have, you know, equal participation. But we put so much notes and work into like doing research on the stuff that we want to talk about that like just got to get it out there. I want to give you the information that we learn.
He wants to speak. Cloud loves it. That's okay. we like it when Cloud talks.
yeah.
Yeah.
He's our
Gives us
host.
time to think of funny jokes.
Yeah. We can't think of funny jokes all the time.
Yeah.
We're only human.
Not when we're talking. Yeah. Not while we're talking and talking about serious shit.
These 9/11 jokes don't write themselves, you guys. Come on.
But yeah, the 3D Mario platformers episode. How did we feel about that one?
Loved it.
I think my only regret is that this was done before my replay of Super Mario Odyssey, so I did not have a fresh in my mind playthrough. But going back, like,
that's fair.
Pretty much all the positive things I had to say about the game based on my playthrough from years before, not only do they apply still, but they probably like could have enhanced what I was saying with the additional playthrough that I did with the stream. So other than that,
it's always tough. That is one of my my biggest things about when we do like a series breakdown, even though this is like a subset of a series, really. But like when we look at like a series and we're like, all right, we're gonna talk about this. It's all like I always try to push myself to like try to cover up as much as I can of like maybe games I haven't gotten a chance to play and want to play. And
so you don't have regrets later for not having the experience to put that in.
Yeah, but I don't regret not playing 64 before this, so fuck it.
Yeah.
Maybe one day I'll do that. Wasn't I just playing Captain Toad? I think I was like in the middle of a Captain Toad playthrough around that time.
I did re-listen to this recently, and I remember you mentioning that in the episode.
Yeah, and that, I mean, Captain Toad still holds up, man. It's fucking. I am happy we included it, even if Mario's not the fucking character in it, but it is a Mario 3D platformer.
I was gonna say it was so closely tied to the hip of another game that was definitely on there, where it's like if you don't include it, it's kind of weird.
Yeah, and I mean, like we went through and we were like, here's some games that we could include, but we're not going to.
Like we curated it. Like we weren't like, you know, like we could have, like we thought about it. We were like, oh, do we do Princess Peach Showtime? No, that's not really close enough in like gameplay and like the way that it's handled. Like we actually like really, when we talk about the series and like there's not like an already very strict like thing for us to follow, like the Zelda main series stuff. Like we do curate like what are we going to talk about and what are we not going to talk about. And so spoilers, there's going to be a few episodes that come up this season where we are doing the same thing, so it'll be very interesting. But,
it'll be fun. Yeah,
3D Mario platformers, Jack? I think it did a good job with that. Jack, thoughts on that episode?
You hate Mario. What are your thoughts?
I hate Mario, dude. I'm tired of living this lie.
Fucking Jack is the guy who has
Mario Galaxy 2. Fuck this game.
I'm so glad you have that right there.
I always have this on hand in case I need to talk shit on this game.
You always got that thing on you.
It's true. I always got this thing.
If Landon like devoted himself to like doing as complete as possible with Zelda, like that was Jack with Mario. Like Jack was the guy coming in hot on every Mario game we talked about in that episode. With the exception of Landon really supplied the Captain Toad stuff, but like everything else was pretty much Jack.
Jack's not a real fan. He hasn't played Captain Toad's Pleasure Packer.
Captain Toad's Pleasure Packer.
I've played like a few. I haven't beaten it. I've played like a few worlds of it back in the day.
He's fine. I'm giving him shit.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean it's Jack's jam.
Yeah,
this is Jack's jam right here. 3D
That's
Mario.
True.
He loves it. He loves his Galaxy.
It's my
Galaxy 2.
I even love
that's it. Those are the
just
only
those,
3D.
Just those two games.
Yeah. Those two games. Those are the only 3D Mario platformers.
Yep.
Period.
No, this was a good episode. I love 3D Mario.
You got to say a lot in that episode too.
Yeah, I try to. when I have a topic that I like. Well, I mean, I try to in general, but like sometimes I don't always have a lot to say.
Yeah, this was an episode where you definitely had a chance to shine and like discuss a lot of shit. And I mean, I know that like sometimes like when you have a lot to say, it can be kind of hard to like put everything together. And I remember just kind of like bouncing some words off you to keep you going, and it was pretty good conversation.
Yeah, it was a good one.
Yeah. The next episode we did was a very interesting topic. We talked about bad remakes, ports, and remasters. So the previous season we had talked about the differences between remakes, ports, and remasters in general, but we didn't really talk about quality wise. We just kind of talked about like, you know, is this game a remake? Is that game a remake? Like the concept of companies putting these kind of things out. But this time we decided, no, we're just going to talk about the bad ones. I think that this was a fun episode as far as like what we covered, but we did not have enough personal experience with a lot of the stuff we brought up. But that's just the nature of this sort of topic, is like it's such a niche thing that it was so hard for us to have all the personal experience going into it. But it was fun
Also,
bouncing
like,
between like what we had
who
experienced
goes
with
out of the
and
way to
and-
play a bad game
yeah.
or a bad version of a
I mean,
game?
occasionally you might be like, "Oh, I need a reverse palette cleanser where you've played a bunch of good games and
Yeah.
I need to play a bad game." But like that's just not that common. So like,
Yeah. So, I mean, just like that
and
is one thing. It's tough.
I'm the type where like I'll play a game that's not great, but like I usually am not looking specifically for a bad remake, port, or remaster. I'm just looking to play the game as
A
it
game.
is. Like
Yeah.
I've played bad games. I've played Phantasy Star 3. I've played Final Fantasy Mystic Quest. Like I know what bad
Yeah.
game
But
is. It just
not a bad port, remake,
exactly.
or remaster of that game.
Exactly.
That's the
thing.
crux of this issue.
Exactly. So that was a very niche topic, but it was pretty interesting. We did manage to make a 2-hour episode on it. Obviously, when I say like how long the episodes were, caveat,
Give or take.
we do spend time discussing what we'd been up to the previous few weeks leading up to that episode. So you can probably take off like a little bit of time here or there depending on the episode. But still, for it to reach 2 hours, even like considering that and it being such a niche topic, we did have a lot to say. Jack, thoughts on this? You actually provided a lot of examples, not necessarily all like personal stuff, but like you brought a lot of stuff that like you did research on. Like you looked at general opinions of stuff online. Like you did your own research for this episode.
Yeah, Jack did notes. That's not his job.
Yeah.
He's just supposed to be pretty. What the fuck?
I'm the pretty one. That's my job. I really enjoyed this one. I thought the topic was really interesting. It's something that like I don't know, people like always talk about how you know, there are certain like games that are like, oh, this is a bad port, this is a bad remake, this is a bad remaster. But I'm always just like, I'm curious about this. Why do you think this? What makes
really
this game
isn't.
what makes this version of this game bad compared to an originally good game?
And Jack wouldn't
just
like, I mean, you looked at like meta scores here and there, but like you actually like went on Reddit and like were like, okay, what are people saying? Like, what are the comments saying? What are words spoken about this game? Like, what are people typing up to discuss this game? Like, you don't want to see just like a review bombed score. Like, you want to see like what's the thought process behind this shit. And he like, you brought a lot to the table with that too.
I tried, yeah.
And I think that actually helped make this episode a lot more interesting.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yes.
Landon, what were your thoughts on the episode? How'd you feel?
My only regret about this episode is we didn't wait until Dragon Quest VII Reimagine came out.
True.
There was a section in this episode where you were speculatively talking about Trails in the Sky First Chapter, which aged like milk because that turned out to just be an incredible remake that like nobody had anything bad to say about it.
But oh yeah, this was before that.
It was before.
It was like right. It was before. Like right at launch.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
So you were just speculating based on like what general perception is about remakes that are not faithful.
Like at the very least, the demo was out, and people could have played the demo at that point.
Yeah.
I mean, it's there. It's like it could have been like Falcom really could have like fucked up
Yeah, they
to say
really
the least. So
it
like it doesn't take much to fuck up something
yeah,
like that. So
it does not take a lot for a remake of a video game to be considered inferior to the original in the eyes of the very picky gamers.
Right.
So
Yeah.
the fact that it has received almost universal praise since its release is
If we ever have
they did a good job.
if we ever have a sequel to this episode on bad remakes, ports, and remasters, Trails will not be on it. Just don't you worry.
Yeah. We'll just do a sequel of good games.
Yeah, true. We'll talk about
And it won't be on that either.
That
You have to wait till the great game.
I was gonna say that could be a very good topic for a podcast. Good remakes, ports, and remasters. Like what makes them really good.
Then we could talk about Dragon Quest VII Reimagined.
Yeah, fuck with the internet
off.
Yeah, fuck the internet.
Fuck you, internet. Eat his shorts.
Hell
I haven't
yeah.
played it yet, so I can't say one way or another.
I'll talk more about that later in this episode when we talk about our catch-up sequence. Don't you worry. Let's talk about one more episode before we take a breather. And we did the Pokemon Generation 6 episode. This was the first episode of the Pokemon series podcast where we like did not universally have good good things to say about it. Like even with like Gen 1, like we understand that that it was the game that came out in 1998. So like we talked about it through the lens of this is when the game came out. So it was way better because of the game, because of the time. But like with Generation 6, we were looking at it at the lens of these are games in 2013, 2014 on the 3DS. What did we get? What did we get to play? And it was very interesting. I definitely feel like my opinions on these games was evolved between when I played them and when this podcast happened, which was, you know, a solid 10 to 12 year gap. My opinions have definitely changed, mostly for the worse, but not necessarily from like good to bad, more like a good to meh. So, and I mean, there's good qualities, but like we definitely, I think, we're able to identify problems that the series was beginning to have, like right here, like right in this time. And
yeah. I mean, there's a couple things that started in Gen 5, and I think we've been talking about that recently on the Discord.
Yes.
But yeah, Gen 6 is definitely, I will say this, I have been in my trench since the launch and since day one of playing this game, and I will continue to be in the trench. This game is akin to the Antichrist.
Pokemon X and Y specifically.
Pokemon X and Y,
Yeah.
very specifically akin to the Antichrist. I will give you Omega Ruby Alpha Sapphire. You get a slight pass. You were just there, but I'm shooting my load right here.
Speak your truth.
I'm speaking it, and I'm sure if we go back to a very old review of Pokemon X and Y, or like the year review for that year,
yeah,
I was very mean to the game then too.
Yes.
I think your exact words were in our top 10 games of 2013. It was like every awful game that came out that year that you could think of, including like, what was it? Like Ride to Hell Retribution. And then like piss, shit, ass, and then Pokemon X and Y.
No, it was crap shit Pokemon X. I remember that specifically.
Yeah.
I forgot about I think Landon did mention like some bad stuff, because I think I like asked, I was like, oh, Pokemon X isn't in your top 10. You were like, no, I don't like that game. And then you like started like ranking bad things and then put it at the very bottom, and I was like, oh. It was very interesting, and it was very it was diametrically opposed to where I put it in second place on my top games underneath Fire Emblem Awakening. So that was fun.
Yeah.
Listen, that yes is an extreme take. I stand by it.
Valid.
You rank that bitch.
Jack, any other things to say about Generation 6 podcast?
It another good Pokemon one. Fun discussion. It was cool to revisit and talk about Gen 6, a generation that isn't like universally beloved, and kind of look back and see like why is it not universally beloved and what don't we like about this piece of shit.
Yeah.
It's not a piece of shit.
It's one of those things where like we can see issues with pacing, issues with design decisions that they made, issues with pulling back content, like like an amount of content that you used to see in previous generations. So like we really got to analyze it, and like we did give it a fair shake. Like we did talk about things that we thought were good about the Generation 2, but like it was one of those where it was nice for us to kind of sit down and be like really like dissect like why. Like it's fun to just bash on something all day,
Let's
but it's
fucking
yeah,
sandbag this game.
like let's take out the scalpel and let's dig in there. Let's
Yeah.
let's understand it. Let's get to the bone. Let's get to the marrow of what the fuck this thing is. It was fun. Jack, I'm gonna ask that you do the usual thing. I believe we should still have the same two gold stooges.
Yep.
I don't know. I'm filling time. Got to make sure there's no dead air.
All right, well, I'll start talking about it then. Hey, everybody, we have a Patreon.
Yes,
You can
it is
subscribe
the
to our
same two.
Okay. Hey, everybody, we have a Patreon. You can subscribe to our Patreon at either the Silver Stooge $3 tier or the Gold Stooge $5 tier, where at the $3 tier, you get access to voting on future content, including podcast topics and future stream titles. You also get access to exclusive videos that we make for Patreon. We upload one video a month, and we usually put a decent amount of effort into
You
it.
know what this month's episode is?
I don't actually. I don't
You
remember.
don't because you're not in it.
Oh, that's right. You guys reviewed
Dragon Quest 3, 1,
3.
and 2 HD 2D, the Erdrick trilogy.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's right. I forgot you guys did that last week, last Wednesday.
Yep.
That'll be up
And
fairly soon. I'm probably going to get that up later this week.
at the $5 Stooge tier or the Gold Stooge tier for $5 a month, you get everything plus a personal shout out from us. Shout out to Al and Pixel Vixen, who are our two Gold Stooge tier members. As far as streams lately, I recently finished Yakuza 0, had a great time with that. Immediately after, per Cloud's suggestion, I played in a single stream Tori Saturn, which he's joined for. You can watch that full VOD on YouTube. It's up right now. Landon is still going through Dragon Quest V, Hand of the Heavenly Bride. And Cloud, what? Hi, what are you doing again?
I finished Yu-Gi-Oh! Monster Capsule GB.
Yeah, you finished Yu-Gi-Oh! And then I couldn't remember, like, have you announced what you're doing next? It's Final Fantasy VII,
I will be
right?
starting Final Fantasy VII. We're going to be jumping back into the Final Fantasy series. We played through the Pixel Remaster series of 1 through 6 last year, so we're going to jump into Final Fantasy 7, 8, 9, and hopefully 10. We'll try and get through the PlayStation 1 and first PlayStation 2 title through this year. I'll be playing all those through my Nintendo Switch releases of those games, so that'll be fun. Yeah, that's my major plans coming up for streams. But I'll leave.
Sorry, I totally blanked. I don't know why I totally blanked on Yu-Gi-Oh!
I have a poll.
It's like
Yeah, I have a poll that I'm planning to put up near the end of the Final Fantasy VII stuff for what I'll do next. But I'll leave that for when that time comes. But yeah, what were you saying with the Final Fantasy stream thing?
I knew that you had just finished a stream, but for some reason I totally brain farted on what you just finished and what you were about to start.
Yeah.
I literally do all of the fucking like uploading exports for VODs on YouTube. I should know this.
And yeah, anything else from the housekeeping? I stepped away to get a drink.
I think that's everything. I mentioned Landon is still doing Dragon Quest V, and I mentioned Oh yeah, I started Pokemon Mystery Dungeon Red Rescue Team last week on a complete whim. I had no idea what I was going to do. I'm like, fuck it. I'm just going to boot up NSO and play Red Rescue Team. And by the time the stream was done, I'm like, damn, I'm kind of into this. I might just continue playing this game. So here we are. I'm playing Pokemon Mystery Dungeon Red Rescue Team.
Yep. All right, so let's jump back in. We got 9 more episodes of the past 24 to talk about, and then we'll take some questions and we'll get caught up on what we've been up to over these past 3 weeks since the last episode. The first episode that we're going to talk about in the second part of the podcast was actually our Halloween episode, our Spookfest episode, and we decided to do an episode on hot takes. In other words, possibly unpopular opinions that we may have. And I think if we did this episode now, it would have been better. I think we kind of did this episode on a whim at the time. And it was pretty good, but I feel like I could have contributed like better points now, like my opinions have like evolved in just the months since. And I'm like, damn, I wish we could redo this episode, but it was a fun thing to do for like a Spookfest quote unquote episode, because unpopular opinions are spooky.
It was fun, but I also think that we were like a little underprepared for the topic. Yes. And we kind of ran out
woefully unprepared. I think you guys at least had some talking points. I just sort of showed up and I was like, what are we doing today? And they're like, this thing. And I'm like, I'm going to check out right now. See ya.
But Lennon, you have the hottest takes of them all.
Yeah, I know.
I'll just say, like, Lennon's the one that will come in and be like, this game you love, shit. This game you hate, shit. Masterpiece. What the fuck are you talking about?
Yeah, that sounds like me.
Yeah. So, to be fair, I think we came underprepared because I didn't really like present like a more specific like plan for it. I kind of was like, I'm going to do more general opinions, and I didn't really like define, maybe you could do something more specific, less specific. So it's one that I think like if we had done it like this coming season 4, I think we'd be better prepared for it. But it was still a fun time enough. Yeah. The next episode we did was another year-end retrospective. We did the year 2001. Landon, is this the one that you were waiting for?
Oh, this. Yep. This might be one of the best episodes of the whole season. I don't know.
Is it because we mentioned Paper Mario N64? You can be honest.
It might be. It's like
it could also be
8% of the reason why it's a pretty fun episode.
Yeah.
It could be. It could also be the plethora of 9/11 jokes that we made when we got around
the other 52%.
When we got
I don't know.
September 11th.
We made some really interesting jokes that episode.
Listen,
we're Americans.
That happened almost 25 years ago.
Yeah.
Was it bad? Yes. The loss of life, not funny.
No.
But the fact that Advance Wars came out the day before and Klonoa came out day of, hilarious. And that's what we're here for.
Yep. We're here for the funny.
Yes.
We're here for the funny.
But no, this was a really good episode just because like 2001 is considered like one of the best years in gaming retrospectively.
It's a banger fucking year.
It really is, because you had Game Boy Advance, GameCube, and Xbox all launched that year. And you had great games on like 8 different systems, because N64 was still getting games. PS1 was still getting games. Game Boy Color was still getting games. PS2, Game Boy Advance, Xbox, GameCube, all getting games. Dreamcast getting games still, even though it was discontinued partway into the year, there were still games coming out for it. So like, God, so many good games on so many different consoles. You don't see that anymore.
It was just at that It was at that like
Perfect crossroads.
perfect crossroads, perfect meshing point in time.
It's not a Gaming Stooges podcast episode if Landon doesn't get randomly handed food.
I got
A lot of good food too, it looks like.
I got fish. Well, that's because Kari knows how to cook. I got fish, peas, and a roll.
Nice.
So I'm just gonna eat now and stop talking about whatever. I don't even know what we're talking about.
We were talking about the 2001 Gaming Year in retrospective, but you did already say a piece there. So, Jack, how'd you feel about that episode?
It was a good one. Like I said, I really liked the year in reviews, and it was cool to go over like kind of a transitional period for gaming, kind of like between generations a little bit, kind of the end of the previous and the beginning of the next.
Yep.
Fewer PS2 games than you would expect.
Yeah, a lot of them were like near the end of the year. That was when you got like I think GTA 3 had come out, you got Final Fantasy 10, but like a lot of 2001 was kind of quiet for PS2 until like later on. But it was pretty interesting though to see like, support for the previous console generation still kicking at the same time as a new one starting. Yeah. Speaking of Game Boy Advance, our immediate next episode was a retrospective on the Game Boy Advance. And this was a fun episode because we didn't just talk about Game Boy Advance like games. Like we talked about the hardware, we talked about the Game Boy Advance SP, the micro, we talked about all the weird fucking accessories this shit had. You had like the Game Link cable, you had the GameCube connectivity, you had e-reader. Like we touched on like almost anything you could think of that was like prominent with just the Game Boy Advance lifestyle of the early 2000s. Like we covered it and it was fun. And yeah, just never forget just Monsters Inc., my first GBA game.
Well, it helps that the GBA is a fantastic console.
Game Boy Advance Video.
That too, I guess. That also happened.
I guess that existed.
Yeah, we can talk about that too. Whatever.
We did talk about it. It was interesting.
We did talk about it. We did.
Jack, thoughts?
I talked about. I talked about one of my favorite experiences of watching Dragon Ball.
Yeah, true. You haven't lived until you watched the Dragon Ball Game Boy Advance Video episodes.
It's true.
Blown up on an HD TV.
Yep.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Got to get that crunchy 144p stretched to 720 plus.
Oh yeah. We need that on a 4K TV.
Oh yeah.
Immediately. Fuck that. I don't even want I want a 70 millimeter theater screening of Game Boy Advance video quality. I want the Game Boy Advance video cartridge for Shrek on 70 millimeter.
You know what's really funny?
No, you want the Shrek? Was it Shrek and Shark Tale on the same?
Oh, true. Oh, even better.
That one because the image quality is even worse.
Yeah.
There are some movie theaters that I remember my local movie theater before they closed down. They were doing a thing where like you could rent out a single theater of the movie theater and like just use the projector for like whatever. And I never thought like it would have been so funny. Blow up Game Boy Advance Video onto that giant ass.
Hell yeah, brother.
That would have been so funny. But yeah, how'd you feel about the Game Boy Advance episode, Jack?
Good episode. Love the Game Boy Advance.
Love talking about Game Boy Advance.
I love talking about the Game Boy Advance. I don't really have a whole lot to say about it, but yeah, good episode.
Yeah. Landon, Game Boy Advance retrospective.
Another good episode for sure. I do like, especially when it's Nintendo consoles, because I've never played another console in my life.
Unless the name is the Sega Game Gear.
Hell yeah! When's that episode?
One day.
Do you want to do that? Because I'd be down. I would need to play more Game Gear games.
Whatever makes it to where these guys play more Game Gear games, I'm down.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm down.
Season 8, let's go.
Season 8.
Season 8.
we'll
Oh, man.
we'll see you in 2031. No, 2030.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. The next episode, we talked about another gaming year in retrospective. It was part of a poll between it and the 2001. This one lost, so we did it a little later. But we did 1997, which was a year where all of us were very young. And so we got to look at a bunch of games that we might not have even realized had come out that year. We did learn that because this was like pre-internet, not pre-internet in general, but pre-internet proliferation, that there's a lot less data on all the stuff that had come out. And also because gaming hadn't quite exploded yet, there was less games to talk about, but we had a lot of quality titles that were on this year, and it was very interesting to go back and discuss them. You might say this might have been one of Landon's least favorite years in gaming because it had Final Fantasy VII and Mario Kart 64 in it. And it did not have Paper Mario, so that's just unfortunate.
That automatically like makes a year like that much worse when Paper Mario 64 does not come out in that year.
Yeah. What are you gonna
Like,
do?
even if it's already out, if it comes out again, then that just bumps the year up like a point or two. Let's be real.
Yeah. When's the NSO release of Paper Mario? Actually, is it on N64 NSO yet?
Yeah.
Oh. When when is it getting released again?
When is it getting a remake like Thousand Year Door?
Yeah, true.
That's the question to ask yourself.
Good question. But yeah, Jack, Landon, thoughts on the 1997 Gaming Year in Retrospective episode?
Did you know?
Did you know?
I was the one who suggested this for
Yes.
the poll.
I was going to say
really
the
are a
poll was
masochist
between this and
sometimes.
2001, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was between this and 2001. I've been handed a potato.
Nice.
Potato.
That's
hell yeah,
Spuds for
brother.
you. But yeah,
Spuds.
continuing with the thoughts on the 1997
Spuds.
year retrospective, Jack.
This was a good one.
You were 2 years old when the year 1997 happened.
When 1997, my parents weren't even married yet, if that tells you anything.
Well, my parents
I
never
was
married,
alive.
so
I was
Same.
alive. Wow, I'm the special one, I guess.
But hey, we're all bastards.
That's true. We are all bastards.
We are all
why
a
aren't we
bunch
called
of
the gaming bastards?
Yeah.
Damn, that name goes kind of hard. Why didn't we think of that?
Gaming bastards.
Gaming bastards. Well, here's the issue. Take Jack out of the equation. Was Justin a bastard?
No,
I don't know, actually.
I don't think he was.
Personality wise, sure,
Yes.
but
Yes.
legally,
I don't think he was. I
don't-
think his
I don't
parents
think
were
so.
married at the time.
I don't think so. That's why we could rebrand. We could
We could rebrand.
in our what 20th year of doing this, we could rebrand.
We are on our 15th year.
Yeah, because we're as old as the 3DS.
So yeah.
Yeah.
But anyway, any other thoughts on the 1997 retrospective? If not, we did another retrospective the next episode, but it was on a console, and we did a retrospective on the GameCube, a system that we infamously pushed down on Nintendo for.
We pushed down on Nintendo.
We also talked about the Game Awards, and by that I mean like I just kind of shouted at Jack and Landon about the stuff I saw at the Game Awards, and then Landon was like, "Oh, there's this game sounded kind of cool, and this other game."
This singular
sounded cool."
announcement was funny.
There was two games that you were interested in. There was like the weird puzzle game made by the same guy as Braid that's like supposed to be coming out that I don't think we've heard anything about since. And then the Control Resonant, and that was it for you.
That sounds about right. That checks out.
But the Game Awards is not the interesting part of the podcast. The GameCube retrospective was the main part of the podcast.
Now you got me. Now you got me.
Yeah. This was a fun episode. I actually was the one that like probably had the least to say about the GameCube because my experience is very weird with the GameCube. A lot of it is like into the Wii generation, and I used a Wii to play my GameCube games a lot. So like
Yeah.
I was the one that did not have like the growing up experience with the GameCube. So Landon and Jack really got to share a lot of their like stories about the GameCube and growing up with it. And I thought it was really interesting. It was nice to get their perspectives because yeah, GameCube is one of those systems that's just kind of like aged really well and has just kind of gotten better over time. And so we that kind of really reflected in our discussion about it. How'd you guys
Geoff will never promote the Gaming Stooges now. Damn. Well, that means we'll live forever.
Yeah. We won't have to cancel in the next like 45 days.
Yeah.
We're good.
I won't have to lay off all of our employees and then
Bad day.
pull funding from the project.
R.I.P. Highguard, the game that was the big last thing at the Game Awards, and that's all we're gonna say about that one. The GameCube retrospective, though, how'd you feel about it, Landon?
That was fun. I enjoyed that. I mean, once again, it's a Nintendo system
You're there.
that had Pokemon on it. Those, especially during this era.
Yes.
That's all I did. I played Pokemon on Nintendo consoles. It's literally pretty much all I did. I mean, this like the GameCube was like I would say one of the first consoles where I really started like playing more than just that. But like 64, all I had was Snap and Stadium and Paper Mario.
Right.
The Game Boys like were primarily Pokemon, and then every once in a while I played something else. The Cube, obviously, Coliseum and XD, but this is where I learned.
This is where you branched out. This is an interesting system to
this-
start branching out on.
This is where I started because like also like I liked Sonic, and
You got a lot of
this
Sonic
was like
to play on that thing.
this was like the first console to like have Sonic. Not that the Game Boy Advance didn't, but like this is the first console that I got into pretty early, so I was able to like start saying, "Oh, hey, there's that thing I liked that one time."
And I mean, the GameCube had all the Sonic you could possibly ask for.
Yeah, except for I mean the Advance trilogy.
Yeah.
That's like literally I think it.
Hey, to be fair, and we talked about this on both the GameCube retrospective and the Game Boy Advance retrospective. We touched on it. You could play your Sonic Advance games on the GameCube if you had the Game Boy player.
You could. I didn't, but yeah. GameCube is awesome. Good episode.
Yeah. Jack, any additional thoughts?
Nah.
Nah.
Head empty. But also good episode.
The next episode we did was actually one that I prepped for by polling a bunch of friends and Discord server members, where we talked about top 10 video game systems as ranked by all of us. There was a small sample size of about 18 people, but we did get a pretty nice sample size as far as like what we got for our top 10. And it was some pretty predictable stuff. There was a lot of Nintendo, a few PlayStation consoles. There was a lot of interesting systems, like in the top 15-ish. There was a lot of fun discussion though on PlayStation 4, PlayStation 1, Super Nintendo, Game Boy Advance, 3DS, Switch, PS2. So I liked this episode. It was basically a sequel to our top video game systems videos that we did for the channel years ago, and it was like just us ranking them, the Gaming Stooges themselves. So it was fun to like get a little bit more, get like some of our audience and a couple of my friends that were aware of the podcast, like try to get like some answers in on it, and it was a fun time. I liked it.
I liked the format for sure. I mean, you pretty much stole what Good Vibes Gaming does,
Yeah, I did.
which is poll and then ask the two lesser thans to guess what's right and then dangle points in front of them.
Yep. And I thought it was a fun
Yep.
format, so I stole it because like I really like their episodes where like they, get the audience and like we got the two other people in the panel kind of guess at stuff and like try to figure out where stuff is. And I think it was really fun as we got through higher and higher on the lists, and like Jack and Landon trying to figure out what's where. I can't Landon, you should have stuck with the GameCube when
I
you
should
were like,
have.
because he said for number 10 he was like GameCube, number 9 he was like GameCube,
GameCube.
number 8 he was like not GameCube, and number 8 was GameCube, and I was just like,
Yeah. Well,
you
that's
should've
how
stuck with
that's how the
GameCube.
punches roll, baby. But it's fun.
It was really fun for me to like
Really,
hear you guys like trying to figure that out.
A reason through. All right, so this has to be it because people like this console for number one, and then yeah. Jack, your thoughts?
Yeah, how'd you feel about this
this
episode?
this is a really fun one. I really liked the idea behind it. I thought it was a really cool, fun concept for a podcast, and I really enjoyed the just sort of guessing what the top 10 will be
Yeah.
and kind of like predicting where it's going to go and being wrong almost every time.
Yeah. Shout out to Al who guessed DS a few times when we got to the higher ranks until he eventually got it right. That was also very fun.
He stuck with it.
He did stick with it.
What episode are we gonna have that does this format again? What's our next survey?
I'm thinking we'll probably do one on the Pokemon starters like Good Vibes Gaming did, because I think that's one where like we could honestly just ask a lot of our friends just to be like, okay, rank your top 10 starters. And it'd be easy to get like so many people that don't even like, that we know that don't even like really tune into the podcast to like help like get answers for. I think we could get a good like 30 plus people if we just like ask people that we know to like fill it out. I think it'd be fun. And it'd be
Yeah,
very
and
interesting.
if Jack went into those Reddit comments and like super unrelated, like subreddit,
go to the subreddit,
post.
go to the subreddit for like some band that he listens to, just be like, hey guys, I know this is random, but like what are your favorite Pokemon starters?
But it has to be a comment to a reply to
Yes.
a post in that subreddit. It has to be pretty buried.
Yeah, like way at the bottom.
Yeah. Oh man, I'd be down for that.
All right.
I put Bulbasaur 10 times, but you know what? I'd be down for it.
We did our gaming year in review for 2025 afterwards.
Oh,
And we did kind of fly through it because we ended up starting like super late for it. But we did a really good job covering everything. We talked about our just like some of our experiences with it. We actually ended up with a bonus episode so we had recorded before the podcast, so we could like really like stretch out everything we wanted to say. And we really went like all out for the gaming year in review this year, and I had a blast doing it just because of all of that. Like we had a fun like bonus thing where like we just kind of like did what we wanted to do for our own segments, and we bounced back and forth for that. And then for the actual podcast, we did our usual like go through the year. There was a ton of games to talk about, and then we got to like do like a quick like thing at the end for each of us. So it was great episode. It was one of those episodes where I think we like the companion piece really helps boost it. But yeah, thoughts on the 2025 year in gaming episode?
Good one. Yep. I mean, like the year in gamings are always fun. It's topical. We get to like go back and look on the the games that came out in the year. I feel like I'm repeating myself when I talk about our podcast topics, but it's
I should write you like a little script to say
Just a bunch of
when we
little
hit
cards.
yeah.
He just flips through them, just like
Bird Up.
Go watch the Great Ace Attorney VODs.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah, he got it.
Thank you.
He got it, Steve.
Yeah, and I liked the Patreon episode too. I kind of like how, because of like my relative lack of experience with games in 2025, that it kind of forced me to like talk a little bit more about the games that I did play, and I enjoyed doing that. I gave like a brief like mini review for like the handful of games that I played.
I would
in
argue you
2025.
had a nice in-depth mini review for each of the games. Like, you normally don't get to talk
tried.
like, at like length about the stuff, and like you did get pretty thorough based on like your play experiences with all of them. Good. Then Landon, what did you feel about the 2025 year in gaming review?
I liked both halves. I did enjoy both halves. I mean, yeah. I think at the end of the day, 2025 was a pretty solid year. It helps when a console comes out, and Donkey Kong came out.
Yeah.
And it really helps with Trails in the Sky First Chapter remake.
Oh, true.
But no.
True classic.
And Dragon Quest had a remake that was like solid for Dragon Quest 1 and 2. So there was some stuff that really spoke out to me individually specifically. And that means it was a good year.
Good answer, Steve. Good year.
Good answer.
Good year, Yvonne.
Good year, Steve.
I guess.
Good year, Yvonne.
I don't know.
We're trying.
I don't know. I tried to come up with something that started with a Y.
He tried. Yeah. So yeah, I would say this is a good episode. It's a good episode. I take it.
And then we did two more system retrospectives. The first one, we did the PlayStation 1 retrospective. Both of these were the first system of a certain game console manufacturer, this one being Sony. PlayStation 1 retrospective. This was an interesting episode because it was pretty much just me gushing about the PlayStation, and then these two were like, yeah, I know about that game.
We just kind of sat and watched, like, we just stared at Cloud for an hour and
36 minutes.
Yeah, some change.
It was more like an hour and some change, and then we did our catch-up segment. But yeah, I pretty much just took that episode, and I don't know how I managed to talk about it for about an hour, but I did.
Yeah, I mean, it helps that Spyro came out on the console.
It does help the Spyro. It really helps that Ape Escape came out on that system.
It really helped. It really helped that Ape Escape came out. It helped that Spyro came out, but it really helped that Ape Escape came out.
And I guess Final Fantasy VII also came out on the system, but I didn't have to talk about that one. What? He says what?
What?
He's gonna say what a lot when I start streaming that game this week. He's gonna pop
What's
in.
This game?
He's gonna pop in just to say what, and then leave the stream, and then that's it.
That'll be it.
Yeah, that was a pretty fun episode. I mean, I apologize.
It was great to sit there.
I apologize to these two because I don't really know. How did you feel about the episode, guys?
I understood how Jack felt when we did our 18-hour Dragon Ball episode.
Yes. Yes.
On the Dragon Ball games, you mean?
Yeah.
Yes.
We did. It was
That's
3.5 hours, and that was
still our longest podcast?
Yes.
Yeah.
And I never forget, I played 25 plus games just for that podcast.
He did.
That I know we talked about that one already, and we already did our year in review for the year that podcast happened. But that is like the most work and effort put into, I think, any podcast that any of us have done.
Yes. And that is the most effort I will put into any podcast episode ever, because that was a lot of work.
I don't know. You're doing a lot of playing Metroid. I know it's
I
not the
am.
same number of games,
Not
but
the
you
same
are
number.
like putting in the work.
Yeah, true.
At least.
And then we also talked about the Nintendo Entertainment System, the NES, Nintendo's first home console, for the last episode of the season, besides this one, obviously. And this was a fun episode because, like, we got to really, like, everybody talks about the NES at some point, but, like, we never really got to talk about, like, the origin story of the NES and, like, what it was like at the time. And we got to really, like, kind of, like, talk about the NES in ways that we didn't get to talk about it in the past. Because, like, we'll bring up, like, an NES game here and there, and we'll talk about, like, whether it was good, whether it aged good, like, how it feels to play now. But, like, we never really got to, like, go in depth on the system as a whole. And it was fun to do that. So I liked this episode. Um, I definitely had a bitch of a time editing it because Landon's audio kept desyncing, and it did not go well with the post processing on that. But that happens once in a while. One of our audios gets kind of finagled and fucked up, and there's you got to have that every season. And that just happened to be what happened this season.
Well,
Womp womp.
that I do remember, for whatever reason, my internet connection blowing ass through that whole thing. You kept talking like a robot, and I was just like, yes,
Yep.
yeah.
Thoughts on the
So-
NES podcast, Jack?
Good one to go over. To have zero firsthand experience with the console itself, but it was still fun to talk about the games that came out for the system and like the history of the system's release and all that.
It was the debut console of, like, the major console / game maker that we tend to talk about over everything else on our podcast. So it was kind of one of those things where, like, we had to do our due diligence. I think we did a decent job. Landon, anything you'd like to share on that episode?
Oh, on that episode,
Yeah.
I was going to talk about this potato I'm eating.
How does it relate to the NES?
It's starchy.
Okay, good.
Have you ever
Good.
tried to eat an NES?
Good enough. We are coming up on an hour and 45 minutes. So let's just jump right into what some questions, if we have any. We did not get any, unfortunately, on the Discord. But is there any questions that anybody here would like to ask?
Yes. I was given a question from KJHD53 separately from this.
Love that guy.
Are you guys ever going to stop being cowards and do a Fire Emblem episode?
Oh my god. There's so many fucking games. And so many of them aren't localized.
I think
it would just mostly be the localized ones.
I think it would be one of those episodes where we wouldn't just we wouldn't do like an in-depth per entry dive like we normally do. I think it'd be more like just a general discussion about the series and our specific experiences with the games that we played. But I think it'd be a fun episode that we could talk about. Yeah, sure. Honestly, spoilers, and I'm not going to say what I'm referring to, but that it would not be the only episode that we would do such a thing if we did it this season.
That's true. We do have something in the
planned that's
in the
similar.
books.
So this Fire Emblem could be a second podcast like that. We'll see.
Maybe I'd open up my copy of Radiant Dawn. Is that open?
Al, if you're
Nope,
still
it's
in
still
the
sealed.
chat, feel free to give us a question if you'd like it. I actually had a question I wanted to ask you guys as far as the podcast future, and that is, are there any series of games that you are looking forward to trying to play more games of in order for us to talk about, and maybe not necessarily in this season, but in an upcoming season? Because Landon had actually asked privately Trails as a possible ability.
That wasn't really private. That was in our public general.
That wasn't our public general. I mixed up. Anyway.
And I brought it up the night before in the mystery dungeon stream. I said, "Why is Cloud a coward for not letting us do a
I did not even
Trails
know.
episode?"
I did not even know
Yeah.
that, but I will
Yeah.
say it's one of those
Dude.
podcasts where I think I could see it happening in the future. Probably not this season, but maybe this coming season, but maybe the one after. We'll see. But I
Yeah.
got to play the games. I haven't actually played through a single game start to finish yet. So I got to do that
Hey,
first. But
Jack
fine.
recently started Trails in the Sky first
Hi.
chapter remake.
I did.
He's taken a pause to play
To play this
Metroid.
one.
some yeah.
Because
and
I need to do this one before our Metroid podcast. And I want to make
Very
sure I
good.
actually beat it before then. I'll talk more about this once we do our catch up.
yeah, but he's doing that. So yeah. I mean, yes, Trails would be great. It would finally kick my butt into gear to sit down and do Into Reverie and then Daybreak and Beyond.
I think the scary
I
prospect about it is just all of the games are very long.
long, yeah. It helps that I have played what is it? 6? No, 8 games. If we don't include Nayuta, it would be like 8 games.
Al has a question.
Oh God, thank you.
Al asks what the best year of gaming this decade so far is. I'm guessing
this
you mean
decade.
I'm guessing you're saying 2020s. And if not,
That's a good question.
I would,
so we got.
I would just say 2025. Like knowing what we went through with like the COVID pandemic, like pushing, like screwing up like a lot of game releases in the early years of the decade, like I could definitely say 2025 is probably the best in my
trying
opinion.
to remember.
But if we're talking about like the past 10 years span, 2017
2017 for sure
is crazy.
2017
was correct. As far as the 2020s go, I think it might be recency bias, but I'm inclined to agree with Cloud. I think 2025 was like one of the strongest years for games we've had in recent memory.
Yeah, just because like you had the Switch 2 that came out, which had a few like really big standout titles. The PlayStation 5 generation with like PC and that, like they actually were getting some like crazy good games at the time, and like Switch 1 was still getting some really good games as well. So like it was a good year.
I do think 2024 was a pretty good year. You had like Sonic Cross Shadow Generations, you had Ys 10 Nordics, you had Zelda Echoes of Wisdom, you had the new Famicom Detective Club, you had Dragon Quest 3 HD 2D remake, and then obviously the best game that has come out since I don't know 1990, Euphoria the Saga 2.
Oh, true.
Yeah,
true.
2024 is the kind of year where like it doesn't have like the huge headliner games like 2025 might have, but like it had a lot of good titles. So
it had some good titles, and like 2023 had like Sea of Stars, which was
Super Mario Brothers Wonder.
Super Mario Brothers Wonder. So like I think there's been a couple years, and like Tears of the Kingdom was 2023.
Yeah.
Sure. So like 2023 had I think 2023 was the first year sent from COVID that like had like a decent like
lineup of games.
But 2025 definitely like hit it really hard because of a new system. And then some of the other systems had some junk or whatever.
It's one of those things where like it was the year when like I could probably say that the current generation of consoles was actually finally getting games that were like noteworthy just for them, because like up until 2025 you were still getting and even like into 2025 you were still getting a lot of cross gen games. So there was like it didn't feel like the generation was even starting yet. Like 2025 feels like the first year where you can kind of make that argument that the generation's finally kicking off. So that's why
Almost.
I picked 2025.
That's a good answer, Steve.
Jack, since the rest of us had a question, do you have a question thought up or no? Yes?
No.
All right. Then
No?
let's just jump into what we've been up to then so we can wrap up. Jack, what have you been up to these past few weeks? Been 3 weeks since the last episode.
3 weeks. Yeah. Let's see. 1, 2, 3. Okay, yeah, 3 weeks. Okay. Since our last podcast, I've only been to one show.
Whoa.
Only
We
one.
gave you
Only
a whole
one.
extra week.
Jack's been gaming. He's been gaming.
I have been gaming. I've been going to fewer shows, but I did go up to Detroit.
Game Boy.
He did.
They Suicide Machines played a show where they were playing their album War Profiteering is Killing Us All front to back. And I'm like,
Wow.
I've seen Suicide.
I was going to say that's just that's evergreen. That's an evergreen.
It is evergreen. That album has aged remarkably. It came out in 2005, and it was written about the second Bush term, and it really has not aged a day.
No, that's still very relevant.
Yeah, evergreen. If I've ever
but
heard of
no, it was great. They did
title.
Yeah, they did 2 shows at a really small. I mean, the place is literally called Smalls. It was I want to say like 200 cap venue, like pretty small place. So it was cool to see them like in a pretty like intimate setting. I have seen them a couple times before, and I was like, they're a band that like I love them, but like I'm not like in a super huge hurry to see them again. But like they said, like, all right, we're playing this album front to back. I'm like, fuck, they're not going to do this ever again. I got to go see it. So I went, and it was really fun. They were great. But aside from that, that's pretty much the only thing I like went out of my house to do in the past few weeks. I did see Nirvana the band again. I dragged 2 of my friends up in Detroit to go see it because I'm like, I'm in a town that is showing this movie. I'm going to take advantage of that while I'm here. And it was just as funny the second time. There's a local theater like in my town that is playing it like 2 weeks from now, and I'm probably going to go see it again.
Do it.
As far as
aside from that,
concerned,
as far as gaming is concerned, the real gaming, I started Trails in the Sky first chapter.
Yeah.
I have not gotten super far yet. I'm still in the prologue, not the prologue, but like the first, like, I think I'm just doing
Did you leave Roland?
Yes.
Oh, okay. So you are in chapter 1.
Yeah. So I'm like not super far in, but like I have.
You are past where I am because I only played the demo that ends at the end of the prologue.
Yeah. I'm really enjoying it so far. I love the combat, and I also love that they got all of the fucking voice actors from the original game to come back. Most of them, anyway. Obviously, Troy Baker they replaced with Matthew Mercer, but to be honest, when that happens, I'm just like, that's the same guy. That is a lateral move.
Since they've reintroduced characters into the series, because a lot of these characters were not in the series for a while.
Yeah.
So like starting Cold Steel 3.
Yeah.
Cold Steel 3 is when Agate and Tita like start reappearing, and they start like reintroducing some of these characters.
Yeah.
And from that point, and then I mean,
they've had the same cast from that point to today.
Yeah, to today. So like Zin, who only like super recently reappeared in like Daybreak, is like he was recast for that, but yeah. But, so like they've been in the roles for like several years now.
Yeah, a while.
For most of the characters.
And like presentation wise, I think the game looks great. The combat's really fun. I don't have a ton to say about it so far because I've only gotten I'm like maybe 5 hours in. Like I've played a decent bit of it, but like I've only scratched the surface. But I put it down temporarily anyway. I will come back to that. Believe me, I want to. But I started playing Metroid Prime 4 because this is a little bit more urgent of a game for me to finish. Not that it's going to take
hated child.
Not that it's going to take super long for me to beat, because this is like maybe a 15 or 16 hour game, but like I already have like almost 50% of the scans in this game, and
Jack
I
had
am
to
at
play
like,
this game because he had to because he knows that the internet doesn't like it, and therefore he has to find out what they are exaggerating
I need,
about.
I need to know. And so far, it's been really fun. I had one gripe with the game so far, and that's just like a general distaste for like the style of boss fight where it's like an unwinnable fight, but you can still be killed by the boss that you're fighting.
Yeah,
Like,
it's not
because
even like a real boss.
yeah, no, it's not. It's like it's the fucking like very minor spoilers for Metroid Prime 4, but it's the Snow Wolves fight where
Yeah.
like they're running in a circle around you, and you have to kill off as many of them as you can until they send an overwhelming number of them at you to the point where you are going to just lose all of your health. The problem is that like I like, okay, the idea is that you're supposed to get below a certain like threshold of health left, and then like after like I think it's maybe like 5 seconds, the game like it goes into a cutscene, and then it's just like the fight's over because like an outside force took care of them. I died and didn't know that it was an unwinnable fight because of that. And I Googled, like, am I doing something wrong with this fight? And then I realized, oh, wait, no, this fight is unwinnable. And I just died too soon before the cutscene could trigger.
It happened to me on the first go through on that as well.
Did it? Okay. But
Yeah.
aside from that, it has been very fun so far. Like, I
How dare
really
you enjoy the game.
I know I'm the worst. It's been really
You are
enjoyable.
nothing but a Nintendo shill and a brain dead moron that licks boots and other words that grifters say.
But don't get it twisted.
But-
I'm also pushing down on Nintendo at the same time.
Yes.
Because it's not a perfect game.
Yeah.
It's not an
okay.
unequivocally perfect experience.
How dare you hate on Nintendo? Nintendo's been making quality games, and this is what you do to repay them.
Fucking grifter.
Grifter.
Oh my god. I'm a fucking grifter. Don't tell Katie.
You're either a grifter or a shill, and there's no in between.
No in between.
And sometimes,
but yeah,
sometimes
no,
you're
this
both.
discussion. Yeah, sometimes you're a grifting shiller and a shilling grifter.
That's how it be.
But no, the game is really fun. The combat is as good as it. I mean, it's Metroid Prime. It's pretty much the exact same combat as you would expect. The psychic powers are pretty cool. I've been enjoying using those for like puzzle solving and shit. The environments are stellar. I'm not like huge on the big desert, but like the individual areas in the desert are really cool. I also like how the desert has kind of like I hate to just compare it to Breath of the Wild, but like kind of Breath of the Wild-esque like mini challenges that you can find. Actually, I feel like it was the closer comparison would be to the Wind Waker, because like there are certain like small areas where you have like small challenges, and you get like a missile expansion at the end of this challenge. And I think it's really cool. I like the game so far. It's fun.
Any other
I'm
games you've been playing?
Yes, actually.
One.
On my Nintendo 3DS family of entertainment systems, I have been playing Pokemon Ultra Moon, and I am not super far in yet. I have 3 of my 6 planned party members. I'm about to do I think I'm right in front of Kiawe's trial. So I'm little bit of the way in. I'm almost at the point where I left off in my initial playthrough of the game, which was I think right after that trial. So
God bless you for playing it on an original 3DS and not a new 3DS, because I'm sure you're probably experiencing some slowdown here and there.
Well, yes, there has very much been some slowdown, but the unfortunate reality, there it is that the B button on my new Nintendo 3DS XL Majora's Mask Edition has started to kind of go out. I noticed this while I was playing Ultra Moon, and I noticed that like, oh shit, I have to like press down like kind of hard to like actually register. Not like super hard, but like enough that I have to like, I will forget about it. And like, I'll be like holding down B when I'm running, and then it's just like, oh, I'm not pressing hard enough. But yeah, so unfortunately, I may have to retire this
You want to
3DS.
just try out my Samus Returns new Nintendo 3DS XL?
If you're offering.
You have to come get it.
Okay, Landon, you
I'm not shipping this.
scoundrel.
I'm not shipping this baby out.
But yeah, it's been pretty fun so far. I mean, like, it's a Pokemon game. I will say that replaying this generation for the first time in a while has made me remember that the tutorial island is a fucking slog. Like, boy, you get stopped like every 5 feet on the first island. Like, it's not like awful, but like the pacing on the first island is really just like, it's a lot of stop and go. Like, you go somewhere, you stop to see like How and Lily and Kukui talk for a few minutes, and then you go again. And then you repeat that process for like a few hours until you get off the island and move on to the next one. But I'm still enjoying it. I'm having fun. I've been kind of playing this when I have like downtime at work or whatever. So yeah, that's what I've been up to.
Okay. I have a lot of games to talk about, and I'm going to say as much as I can in a very brief amount of time on each one. Okay, so the last podcast, I had mentioned that I played through Metroid Zero Mission, and I played through. I think I might have started before the last podcast had ended, but I played through a finished playthrough of Metroid: Samus Returns on 3DS, and that was quite a lot of fun. I took about 15 hours. I'm going to be the casual Metroid fan. I'm not going to be somebody that's going to be going for 100% completion on anything that I play. I'm just going to get my fill and move on between games. But I enjoyed Samus Returns. I think that Samus Returns does take a little bit of time to get going, but considering that it was a 15-hour game and not a 4-hour game like Metroid Zero Mission, I think that's understandable. But the evolution of like getting Samus stronger and stronger over the course of the game, it was really fun. And I was enjoying even going back and like revisiting some areas to like get some like extra like missile upgrades and stuff like that. And it was a blast. The bosses are pretty hard. I did rage a little bit and my hands hurt a little bit on some of them, but I had a great time, and I'm looking forward to getting into Super Metroid next because of that. So yeah, I get Metroid now. My gaming tastes have definitely evolved because I used to not be somebody that would be interested in a Metroidvania, but I think if it's handled well, like Metroid games do, I think I can probably start getting into them because they have a similar idea of what I like in games now as RPGs that I like, because like I like when there's like, you don't have to go to certain places if you don't want to, but like there's an incentive to go out of your way for stuff. And like that is literally the essence of a Metroidvania. And like I like that agency. So yeah, I'm interested in playing more of those. I got back into the Hatsune Miku Project Diva series because I had played a little bit of like the first one, so on PSP. So I went back and I played through the song list of Project Diva Second and Extend, the other two PSP games. And, those are fun. It's interesting to see where the Project Diva series started. I really appreciate that the games like pretty early on had these like big effort like 3D music videos to go along with the songs, because not every rhythm game goes through that effort where like they have these like stories being told through like a 3D music video. So like just the early Project Diva games on PSP doing that is pretty impressive. Speaking of PSP, I had started pretty much a while back, but I didn't really get to talk about it till now. I'm playing through the PSP port remaster, not quite remake, of Shin Megami Tensei Persona 1, and that's been fun. It is a little imbalanced with the enemy encounters, because like if there's like there's a grid, and like if you get ambushed, you all of your characters get reversed on your placement of the grid, which like basically means that you're going to lose like 2 turns One for the enemy ambushing you, two for like trying to reposition yourself. But other than that, it's been a lot of fun. Like you get a lot of freedom in like the persona fusion that you can do. All of your characters can have multiple personas at a time, which is like really cool. Uh, so yeah, and the story's been all right. It's been interesting. Um, it is definitely a different flavor of Persona if you're used to like the modern Persona games, but I can see where the Persona DNA started, and there's a lot of cool stuff that honestly, like I hope they try to bring back and adapt into a new Persona game that they still haven't done yet. Persona 5 took the effort of like trying to bring back a bunch of stuff from Persona 1, but I think that like a Persona 6 would be really cool to like bring back some other aspects. But I've been having fun with it. I'm about like halfway in. I finished Dragon Quest VII Reimagined. Fuck the haters. That game is fantastic. There's no way you could have it convinced me to play the original game. And like even though like I'm big into Dragon Quest lately, like the idea of a 100-hour story for a Dragon Quest game was daunting. So like having this more digestible adventure that's like about 60 70 hours and has pretty much all the same content with a few things missing. But like I love the game because the moonlighting, as they call it, which is just effectively a fancy term for you get two jobs at one time. That shit's a blast. Like I fucking loved shuffling my job vacations around. It is so fun to just like have each of your characters like tweak like what jobs they're gonna have. It's very Bravely Default. It's very Final Fantasy V. It's very Final Fantasy Tactics coded, and I fucking love me a good job system. Dragon Quest VII Reimagined, awesome job system. So props to that. And the story and like the pacing and like the adventure I like really liked because like just like the structure of you have to put together these tablets and go in and solve the problems of the world within those tablets. And then sometimes you'll have the pieces to do different tablets all at once. Like I just really liked like the gameplay structure of the game. So like I I loved it. It's honestly probably my second favorite Dragon Quest game now. And I know that's like an unpopular opinion, I'm sure.
Whoa.
Yeah, I think that's the mic drop moment. Like I'm
Whoa.
saying Dragon Quest 7 Reimagined is my second favorite Dragon Quest game underneath Dragon Quest
Oh,
11S.
but you haven't played the original game, so you don't really know what a good game is, Cloud.
Yeah.
You don't know.
You haven't played all of
You don't.
Dragon Quest X offline. So you don't
Yeah.
even know what a good Dragon Quest game is, Cloud.
But I'm looking forward to going back and playing like at least the 3DS version at some point in the future when I want to like revisit like different versions of other Dragon Quest games. So that was a highlight, a new game in 2026. And then the last couple games I want
Damn.
to talk about, I played Tori 3D and Tori 2 after I watched Jack's stream of Tori Saturn because I was like, you know what? I got to play the other Tori games. And they are fun.
Oh yeah.
They are each $1 on the eShop, and they are
Ugh,
bite-sized 3D platforming adventures. And
that's so much.
$1? Wow.
Yeah.
They're really good though for $1, and I had a lot of fun with both of them. If you like little cute 3D platformers that are short and fun, the entire Tori series is a great series to get into. And then one game I need to get back to and actually finish a playthrough. I actually was able to play Panzer Dragoon, and I got my ass kicked on the stage 3 boss. That shit was
Hell
fun.
yeah.
That shit's fun though, and I really love the atmosphere of the game, like the way that they just portray the world through the environments and the cutscenes in between each stage. It's like it's got a lot of more storytelling for a rail shooter than I would expect, and it's like it's very artistic. I like it. I got to go back and I got to finish a playthrough, but like it's a fucking phenomenal game. I can tell why people like loved it back in the day, and that's a lot of games I've been playing. But yes, I mentioned earlier in the podcast that I would talk about Metroid 2, Samus Returns, and Dragon Quest 7. Yes, they're good games.
Here we are. You did it.
They're good games.
Probably
Landon, what
more
have you been up
impressive
to?
than more impressive than the 10,000 games Cloud has started and beat. in the last 3 weeks. I started and beat 2 games. So, I got that
Two
going for me.
times. Two times.
Wow.
Yeah.
And one of
2
them was a
times.
Pokemon game.
One was a Pokemon game. Technically, I'm not finished with it, but I beat
You did
the
beat it.
Elite Four.
You did hit
I
credits.
did beat it. Yeah, so that's all that matters for that sentence. So yeah, Pokemon Ultra Sun, like Jack, I'm playing because we got a podcast coming up, baby.
Yeah.
And
Podcast.
Ultra Sun was one of the only like main series Pokemon games that I have not played.
And now
And
you can say that you
I've
have.
got I have. And I had a blast with it. I let
The Discord
the
server.
Discord decide our the party, and then also I just shit post the whole time in a just a one-off thread. So there's that. I
What was the
also
other
played
game?
through Metroid Prime Federation Force.
Yes.
Oh,
Yeah, that was the other game.
and
I
how
know.
was
Yes.
that?
That
Would you like to reserve
we're gonna
judgment for the podcast, or would you like?
I'm gonna hold judgment.
That is a little ways out. That one.
It is there,
Uh,
but I'll say this. It is, for a video game, like a general video game, it is fine ish. It's like it's pretty mediocre. For a Metroid game, it's not a Metroid game. So it's arguably the worst Metroid game because it's like not even trying to be a Metroid game. And I'm not saying like Metroid has to be
anything
like
specific?
whatever the fuck. Yeah, it doesn't have to be Super Metroid or like Metroid Prime. It just doesn't feel like it has any DNA from Metroid outside of Samus is in it. And like you have all the nouns, like all like proper nouns of Metroid, but you don't have like the essence of Metroid, if that makes sense. I don't know. I don't
I
know if
think I see
uh,
what you're getting at. Like it has the setting of Metroid, but not the structure of like what makes a Metroid game. Like even with like the Prime games, they have the DNA of a Metroid game. They just translate it into 3D space. But like Federation Force, you were
yeah.
telling me there's like a mission structure
Yeah,
to
it's all
it. It's
mission
like
based.
that's weird.
It's
And
yeah, it's
you did
all
not sound like you were enjoying a lot of those missions either.
the missions I enjoyed the most were the ones that took the least amount of time to beat. I won't lie.
That says enough. And we can wait until the podcast episode for you to go in more depth on that. If you
Yeah,
want.
that's it was I am glad I checked that box though. Because that's outside of I played a little bit of Metroid Prime Pinball, but that is the only like Metroid game that I have not like played all the way through. So
Did you
I
have
did it.
anything real quick to share outside of the world of gaming before we sign off?
Well, two things. One, I did buy and start playing UFO 50. I played a lot of Warp Tank
Oh yeah, they did release
in
the physical
physical.
from
Yeah.
Fangamer.
Yeah, Fangamer did that. So I haven't gotten a whole bunch of time to play it because it came out right at the same time I was starting Metroid Prime Federation Force and then going straight into Pokemon Ultra Sun.
I
But
am
I played
looking
a little bit of it.
forward to hearing
It's
what
good.
game when you play more games in the
Yeah.
collection, which ones you like really stick out for you. Because
Bushido, I don't know. There's like, it's not. I don't think it's called Bushido Blade. It might be, but it's like a sports ball, but with blades type
oh, I know
thing.
which one
You're
you're
like,
talking about. Yeah, that one's
yeah,
interesting. I don't
that
think I
one
really jived.
sucks ass.
I didn't jive with it. It's really weird.
I kept dying, so that one sucks ass. But Warp Tank, that's a game. That's fun. And then outside of gaming, my band had a concert
Nice.
on Sunday, just a couple days ago.
Is this the same
So
band that you had like a long time ago, or is this a new band? I never asked.
this is the Portland Metro concert band.
Okay.
It's yeah. So this is the band I started. I joined at the like like towards the end of 2019,
Okay.
and then it
This is the
it-
one I am thinking of, not the Dirty Skanks, the other one.
correct.
I'm
This
is the one that I was thinking of. Then the one that you've been
Yeah.
with for a little while now.
Yeah,
Okay.
I took a break. Well, one, COVID happened, and
COVID.
nothing happened. Was doing
Nothing
and then
happened.
two,
and then you had babies.
yeah. I mean, I came back post COVID when they started letting us do that. But then yes, when the girls were born last year, I took a break until the current cycle started up in like August. We world premiered a piece. We like commissioned for a piece to be written, and had like a little consortium, so like different groups could like pitch money in to have like rights to the music, basically buy the music ahead of time. And then we world premiered it, a song called Pines and Stars. I thought it was actually, it's a fun piece. We'll probably have like an actual like audio recording of it go out. We plan on doing a recording
Oh, cool.
in July, so probably something out later this year.
Nice.
But yeah, that was fun.
That was
Yeah.
So that was a 2+ hour podcast where we reflected on the previous season. We had a good season. We've got another season coming up where I'm not going to spoil like topics, but Landon and Jack, not all of them. I mean,
not all of them.
Landon and Jack can
let's go for another hour, baby.
Yeah, another hour. Let's go.
Landon and Jack can attest that I have very prepared the next season. I am pretty.
Oh, this is almost the most prepared we've ever been doing almost anything.
Yes, we are pretty
almost
much
anything.
We're prepared
in 15
for
years.
Yeah, we're prepared for season 4. We've got a lot of topics lined up. Polls for topics lined up.
What were you gonna say, Jack?
I was gonna say the only thing that comes close was Spookfest 2015, where we had an upload literally every single day of the month, and I had every single day planned out. But this is like on a greater scale than just a single month of Spookfest.
Yeah,
this is like a year.
This is a whole year.
Spookfest.
Now, to be fair, I do have on the document that I have listed all the episodes. Like, to be determined takes up like almost like all of the second half of the year because we have to plan in advance, like when we're taking off weeks. But we are pretty much like figuring out what we're going to do for the season. So we hope you looking forward to the topics that we'll be covering. And as usual, join our Discord, join our Patreon, and you can help decide some of the pieces we're going to put into this great puzzle that will be season 4. But hopefully you enjoyed season 3 or season 2 or season 1 or all of them. And we'll catch you next season. Thank you all for tuning in.
For a topic.
What is your suggestion?
No, we have to whisper now. I have a suggestion.
What is it, Landon?
Do this one. Oh, then I really have to play it.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Jack might have to play it too. Think about that.
Okay, I guess I do have to.
Okay.
Don't say it out loud though.
Okay. If you're listening, you'll have to actually go watch the VOD.
Go watch the VOD.
Roll the outro.
Roll
Bye.
the outro. Bye.
Bye.